For years, the ups and downs that had befallen the Brown family were too many to remember. The explosive drama, jealousy, and complicated family dynamics within this polygamous family made for ratings gold, and Sister Wives fans knew it well. Yet nothing could have prepared viewers, even die-hard fans, for the latest bombshell. Janelle Brown was secretly married to a new husband. The shocking revelation put the family and the Sister Wives fandom in an uproar. Rumors had been circulating for weeks. Her more perceptive fans noticed her disappearing at odd hours, the whispered phone calls, and cryptic social media posts. Yet despite all the hints, no one could have foreseen the scale of what Janelle was planning. While Kody and the other wives kept busy with their more mundane interests, home renovations, family gatherings, and general day-to-day chaos of their very particular house, Janelle was secretly arranging a wedding that would change the Brown family story forever. According to close friends, the ceremony was intimate but deeply meaningful. It said that it was private. She wanted it just for her and her new partner, away from the cameras and gossip. Yet, in its secrecy, the wedding is a defining moment in her life, a shift so long awaited by fans and never fully imagined. There was instant curiosity regarding the identity of Janelle's new man. Who was this person, brave enough or audacious enough to enter the complicated world of the Browns? Instantly, social media blew up with speculation. Some guessed he was a long-time acquaintance, while others hatched the theory that he was a new one who had swept her off her feet in some kind of whirlwind romance. The chemistry between the two of them was palpable, and news of their union sent the internet into a frenzy. But what really made this revelation so shocking, beyond the romance, was how it upended the household's status quo. For years, viewers had watched Kody Brown at the center of the family dynamic, managing relationships and expectations among multiple wives. Each wife's life was in a delicate balance, defined by boundaries and long-established routines. Janelle's secret wedding blew up that equilibrium in a way no one could have prepared for. Insiders say the wedding was an intimate one, held in seclusion, far from prying eyes. The ceremony was said to be filled with loads of laughter, plenty of tears, and heartfelt vows as Janelle beamed with joy, something so rarely captured during filming on the show. Friends say she had spent weeks taking a meticulous approach to the day, from picking just the right dress to every little detail that spoke to her personality and independence. It was clear this was not just a fleeting romance, but a life-altering decision she was pursuing of her own free will. What interested audiences most was the emotional depth involved in the marriage. Over the years, Janelle was depicted as an affectionate mother and wife, committed to her family, yet consistently hampered by the dynamics of polygamy. Her marriage with Kody was filled with episodes of love, combativeness, and compromise. But people knew something lacked in it. This hidden marriage meant more than romance. It epitomized Janelle's efforts to regain control of her life, decisions, and happiness. The timing of the announcement added another layer of drama. Janelle's marriage came right at a time when speculation concerning tension in the household was already high. Viewers of the show had been interpreting subtle cues, lingering glances, whispered conversations, and quiet disagreements among the wives. And by marrying in secret, Janelle became almost a game changer, leaving everyone, including Kody, scrambling to process the new reality. The reactions on social media were immediate and strong. Hashtags about Janelle's wedding started trending in just hours, with everything from shock and admiration to concern and disbelief. Some were quick to applaud her bravery, taking charge of her life and her heart, no matter what the complications in this family. Others speculated, on how this would affect the Brown household. Would this new relationship be a wrench in the delicate balance that had been carefully maintained for years? Reactions were mixed within the family. Though the details remain private, sources close to the family say Kody was blindsided. The patriarch of this family, who had been in control of the household's dynamics for so long, was suddenly facing a huge change that totally went against his authoritative and expectations. The other wives reacted differently as well, with some surprise and hurt, and others silently supportive of her bold move. The intensity of this emotional moment became very palpable, both to the family and for the viewers watching from home. Perhaps the most resounding element to this revelation was just how much it told of Janelle's personal growth. Through the years, fans watched her fight problems, juggle responsibilities, and keep a composed mind in the light of constant public scrutiny. But this secret marriage showed a different kind of strength, confidence, independence. For Janelle, the ceremony wasn't just about love. It was about asserting her agency, making a choice for herself, and embracing a future she had long envisioned. The secrecy surrounding the wedding only gave it a layer of intrigue. Unlike other family events that were conducted openly in front of cameras and prying eyes, careful planning ensured that vows were exchanged privately and in a very intimate setting. The personal significance of this moment was obvious in every aspect of the event. Friends and close confidants say Janelle felt an equal sense of excitement and nervousness in the lead-up to the wedding. But once all was said and done, it was an experience that proved empowering. She was taking a step that was hers alone to take. This revelation has sparked 1,000 conversations among fans. Speculation as to what this means for the family ran rampant through online forums and social media groups, filling comment sections. How will Kody react in the upcoming episodes? Will the other wives follow Janelle's example, or will tensions rise even more? Can this secret marriage redefine the Brown family dynamics forever? The buzz overwhelmed, and viewers wanted to see how the story would unfold. In the end, Janelle's secret wedding was much more than a shocking headline. It was a true turning point in her life. It was about love, bravery, independence, and readiness to oppose expectations. Coming from behind the curtains and making this bold decision, Janelle reminded everyone that happiness sometimes requires one to take risks, embrace change, and forge one's own path, whatever complicated the circumstances may be. Fans watch in a daze, mesmerized by the drama, the emotion, and the undisputed strength behind such a decision made by Janelle. Her secret wedding was a reminder that in a world full of rules, expectations, and family obligations, sometimes the most courageous thing one can do is to simply follow their heart. As the news of Janelle's secret wedding began to ripple through the Brown family and fans worldwide, another bombshell quickly followed. Her new husband wasn't content to simply celebrate the union in quietude. He had begun making his presence felt within the Brown mansion, and insiders describe his entry as bold, confident, and to some, borderline audacious. For years, the mansion had been a complex ecosystem, carefully balanced by Kody and the wives, each playing their part in a delicate balance. Now, this new man was entering the equation, and it was changing everything. Sources close to the family confirm that within days of the private wedding, Janelle's new husband was spending a considerable amount of time in the family home. Unlike other boyfriends who might take things easy, he reportedly approached the mansion with ease, like he had always belonged there. For Kody and the other wives, this was a moment of tension, unlike any other. After years of managing their various relationships under one roof, the arrival of a new figure in their midst not obligated to abide by the family's more outdated rules, was, if nothing else, unexpected and highly disruptive. Friends close to Janelle say that her new husband was as calculating as he was charming. He worked quickly to gain rapport with some of the household members, those specifically who had long felt low man on the totem pole in the family dynamic. His presence brought a new energy into the home. Fresh, modern, and decidedly different from the patterns the Browns had maintained for decades. It is reported that he became involved in household decisions, too, a bold move due to the pre-established norms of the mansion. In everything from decorating choices to family events, he reportedly provided his suggestions and opinions with certainty, sometimes in conflict with the traditional expectations that Kody had long imposed. Viewers who watched intently noticed subtle changes within recent episodes, small shifts in seating arrangements, new routines, and a palpable sense of curiosity, and sometimes tension, between the wives as they navigated this new presence in their home. The most spoken-about aspect of his integration into the home, however, is the effect that has taken place with Janelle herself. For so many years, she was basically juggling a tightrope among being a mom, wife, and reality TV show star. Her new husband reportedly brought a sense of relief, support, and partnership that she had rarely experienced before. Friends describe him as attentive and protective, someone who not only respects her independence, but actively encourages it. Yet, as much as Janelle was doing well, the introduction of a new member into the house wasn't without its challenges. Kody, being particular about how he managed the dynamics within the house, apparently could not reconcile. Sources close to them say that the family's patriarch was squeezed to come to grips with the fact that he could no longer sustain the influence he had previously commanded. Indeed, Janelle's husband stirred old ways, expectations, and, most importantly, the pecking order so carefully designed over years. The reactions of the other wives were also mixed. Some were said to be apprehensive about the new addition, very unsure of what his entrance would mean for them individually in the household. Others did welcome him as a force for good, since he seemed to stabilize Janelle and offer much-needed support. Social media almost immediately heated up with fan disputes over what that all could mean. Viewers speculated endlessly. Was this the start of a new era in the mansion? Could the family adapt, or would tensions continue to rise? Interestingly, insiders say the new husband's presence wasn't only felt behind the scenes, but even subtlety on camera. Viewers who have been keeping up with the show's recent episodes say Janelle seems more at ease and confident, animatedly laughing and sharing steamy side glances with her partner that were once few and far between. Even if she didn't speak directly of him, there was a change of energy with her, one that seemed to buck tradition of the Browns. Besides personal dynamics, the mansion itself became a symbol of this new power shift. The home had been classically kept, organized and mapped out by Kody's rule, with each wife having her spaces and responsibilities in the home. But with Janelle's new husband came a subtle reimagining of these spaces. Friends describe him as someone who encourages collaboration rather than hierarchy. He'd ask delicate questions about outdated routines and inspired new ways for the household to function. But online fans nailed the contrasts. The comments, forums, everything exploded with this. He is not just visiting. He completely changes the atmosphere of the mansion, one fan wrote. Another followed with, Janelle looks happier than ever, and it's pretty obvious he is a big part of that. The internet was alive with curiosity and speculation, building a story of Janelle's secret wedding into an ongoing discussion over power, influence, and family dynamics. Excitement came, but so did tensions. Insiders close to the family reveal that the coming of a new man, notably integrated into the household, prompted hard conversations behind closed doors. Kody reportedly had private discussions with some of the wives about boundaries, influence, and the future structure of the family. These conversations were not hostile. They were nevertheless real, showing the Brown family in virgin territory. Meanwhile, Janelle herself seemed unbothered by all the drama. Friends close to her describe her as empowered, confident, and unapologetic about her choices. She reportedly enjoys having a partner who supports her decisions, stands by her side in the family dynamic, and offers her a sense of partnership she had not fully experienced before. To Janelle, this relationship was not just about love. It was about respect, equality, and shared vision. Interestingly, the newcomer even seemed to diffuse any situation that might have been charged with anger earlier. According to sources, arguments that might have reached their boiling point some time ago were now contained as he was able to mediate and offer a stable view. His impact, though subtle, had started to reform the way family interactions were played out within the mansion, a sign that his stay would not be temporary but possibly transformative. Together, a happy Janelle, the influence of the new husband, and the ongoing adjustments in the household made for a very different scenario for the fans to follow. Viewers had been hooked for years on the complexities of polygamy, family hierarchy, and personal drama. Now, the story had taken on a whole new twist, the addition of a bold, confident individual who had the potential to change the dynamics of the Brown family forever. The fans have continuously remained in a watchful position as they await how the changes will be witnessed in the coming episodes. Will Kody adjust to the presence of Janelle's new husband? How will the other wives navigate their relationships within this evolving environment? Could this new dynamic lead to more harmony or cause tensions to rise even further? It is all so suspenseful. Viewers are hooked. They are running theories and sharing their reactions in real time. But most importantly, the entry of Janelle's new husband into the Brown mansion becomes much more than just a plot twist, but rather a catalyst for change. He represents the newer era in which all previously set boundaries would be questioned, where one prioritizes personal happiness over rules, and everybody sets their own rules. For Janelle, this man is not just a partner, he is a symbol of empowerment, independence, and courage, taken to express love on her own terms. This man gives a new impetus to a family that is already filled with drama, surprises, and emotional twists. Fans get glued to their screen as this new man fills the plot with more suspense. His appearance in the mansion testifies to how change can affect your life, the power of love, and how one single person can mold the fate of an entire household. The news of Janelle and her secret wedding came as a shock not only to the fans, but to the Brown family as well. Kody Brown, the patriarch of the family, had been balancing his relationship with his wives very carefully over the years to ensure that each relationship was conducted within a set of predetermined and carefully orchestrated guidelines and rules. But with the revelation by Janelle about her secret wedding to a new man and the way he had already been incorporated into the home environment, the whole family structure seems to have been turned upside down. As described by those who have had exposure to him, Kody's initial response to this new reality has been one of shock and emotional upheaval. Insiders say he was caught completely off guard, having never assumed Janelle had it in her to make such a drastic, self-sufficient decision, let alone one that didn't include him or the rest of the family as an afterthought. A man who had always considered himself the glue holding the Brown family together now found himself in foreign territory, with a wife asserting her independence and bringing a new man into the family mix. Fans who were following the latest episodes of the show would still have noticed the signs that Kody was struggling with the new dynamics that Janelle was introducing into the family. Kody was someone who likes order and simplicity, and playing the role of the patriarch within the family that brings all the other wives together for the sake of the collective benefit and unity that they share for Kody's role within the family. However, the surprise marriage that Janelle pulls off upends all that for even Kody. The other wives had reaction patterns that were equally complicated. Some were bewildered and disappointed that the occurrence was private, meaning that they had not been included in a significant element of the family change. After all, this was not just a family affair, but a personal one as well. The Brown family is one family because they come from one family. When one family decides to do something important, that action automatically affects every family individual. According to various sources, the reaction of most of the other wives was one of betrayal, because Janelle had refused to involve them in what could have been a family experience of joy. However, not all of these reactions were negative. Several of the wives actually demonstrated a quiet solidarity in recognition of the fact that Janelle was following her own path to happiness. They appreciated her courage in taking a step that allowed her to take back control of her life. However, even in the midst of this solidarity, there was a certain reality that these women had to face in the fact that Janelle's new husband was disrupting the status quo in the mansion. Family dynamics for the Brown patriarch were soon the focal point of fan obsession. Social media platforms buzzed with rumors. How would Kody react to this development? Would the rest of the women be forced to follow Janelle's lead? Would having yet another male factor in the home change everything? These questions were among the thousands flooding social media sites, fan pages, and related groups dedicated to TLC shows, reality TV, or simply Brown family. One of the most interesting things that has come out of this situation is the emotions that have been brought out in the family. Kody, the man who has been shown to always have his composure about him, has been said to have feelings of inadequacy and a loss of control. Friends who are close to Kody have said that he has been torn between respecting Janelle's independence and the power he has obtained over the years. During this time, the remaining wives of the mansion are dealing with their own set of emotions and struggles. There are wives dealing with emotions of envy and confusion, especially with seeing how delighted Janelle was with the new man in her life. Others are taking time to introspect, contemplating what they want out of life and out of relationships as a whole. The presence of a new man in the mansion not only impacts Janelle, but is a reflection of what the remaining wives want and feel themselves. The audience noticed that there was a change in the dynamic between the family members. The discussions that happened between the family members were now revolving around boundaries and respect for one's emotions as well. The addition of Janelle and her husband to the family was an influence that was causing a change in the way the family members interacted among themselves. The wives, for the first time, were considering whether their own happiness needed such drastic actions. Sources indicate that Kody tried to deal with the changes through one-on-one and mediated communication with the wives. This communication was apparently heated, but not acrimonious, indicating that the family knew how to keep the communication open no matter how confusing the changes were to them. Even while communicating, the emotional change in the family was evident since each family member had to adapt to a new reality and a new status quo. The effect of the secret wedding of Janelle had repercussions that went beyond the emotional. On one hand, the practical realities of the activities and physical spaces associated with the home had begun to assume a new shape. With the presence of the new husband in the mansion, activities like the allocation of time, domestic chores and the activities of the whole family had begun to assume a whole new level of importance. Friends associated with the woman indicate that all these had both positive and negative implications. Social media went abuzz with comments from fans who all seemed to have a vested interest in the family dynamics. There were comments that hailed Janelle for her move, while there were those who speculated on how there might be future dramas. There were fans who hailed her for her move because she had decided to focus on her happiness and do with her life what she wishes. However, there were those who were concerned with the end results for the family as a whole. Despite all these emotional upheavals, there was a sense of a turning point in the family. Janelle's decision to wed in secret and introduce her new husband to live together in their grand mansion marked a turning point in the family. It was a challenge for Kody to show flexibility, communicate, and keep everything in balance. It was also a time of reflection on what they wanted in their own future within the family. Ironically, Janelle herself seemed unaffected by the tension that she had created. According to her close friends, she is a strong and confident woman who is not apologetic about what she wants in life and what she chooses to do. To her, what mattered most was building a life of happiness and love with her new husband and not be burdened by what could be a source of tension and conflict in her life. Inherently, she became a source of inspiration for all four wives and viewers alike. Sister Wives fans can breathe a sigh of relief. There will not be a fourth wedding on Sister Wives. This is the reality regarding the recent wedding that happened among the Brown family. However, there is more that fans should take into account. This is a reality that is unexplored by many reality fans. It is the reality that Sister Wives fans are completely invested in. In the end, the actions of Kody and Sister Wives serve as a reminder of life's unpredictability and that, at times, achieving bliss entails taking actions that go against the rulebook. The wedding of Janelle, though an important moment in her life, was something from which her family could very well find a way to develop. As fans prepare to watch the upcoming installments, everyone is on edge. How will Kody continue to run the household? Will the other wives be able to accept their own wants and needs, along with their independence? More importantly, what will this reformation of the Brown family dynasty mean in regards to Janelle's new union? One thing is for sure, this story is far from over. Although shaken by her surprise wedding and her new husband's entry into their Brown family mansion, life for Janelle Brown has actually taken a new turn and now embodies what freedom means. Freedom from dependency on people and circumstances. Freedom that comes through empowerment and empowerment that comes with living life the way she wants it and for her happiness as its prime ingredient. She has lived as a part and a child of their polygamous family with all its attendant struggles and needs, especially as a mom and a public figure with a lot on her shoulders and less on her own wants and needs as a woman and a wife. Friends close to Janelle say that this has been a transformative time for her, reports People magazine. She exudes a level of confidence and joy, and has an aura about her that viewers of Sister Wives never saw, adds a source. Such is the impact of her current husband, who is very supportive and attentive and true about wanting her happy, that Janelle has grown into a completely different person. In this relationship, unlike past ones, she has been able to develop as an individual and even shares a strong bond with her partner. For so long, Janelle had lived her life in ways that had been dictated by the Brown family. Indeed, it seemed that the social order of the Brown mansion had often controlled how she was to use her time, voice her opinions, or make any personal decisions. Even when her voice was being heard, it was always tempered by the voice of consensus, perhaps reflecting the way of life of being polygamous. But now, Her clandestine wedding was her own way of expressing that her happiness would now be front and center. Now, within the walls of the manor, Janelle's presence has changed considerably. According to friends and sources, she is walking in a more confident manner, holding conversations more openly, and expressing her preferences without the least bit of hesitation. It seems that she is not merely identified on the basis of her position as Kody's wife, or as one member of the incredibly complex household, but on the basis of what she wants and what she is building. Her new husband, on the other hand, seems to have effortlessly integrated himself into a role of being a source of emotional support. Reports claim he is very encouraging of her pursuits, takes bold actions, and allows her to seize opportunities she may otherwise shun. Whether it is a personal outing or a joint venture, there is a symbiotic relationship between them, which fans claim may never have been witnessed before in the Brown household. The newfound freedom that she enjoys is not restricted to her romantic relationships either. Janelle has apparently taken to exploring her hobbies and interests that she might have found it hard to pursue within the boundaries of her family and household environment. It's being noticed that she has become bolder and prepared to take more chances and risks for her own happiness and satisfaction. Whether it's visiting new destinations, inviting friends to her place for a party, or indulging in creative activities like painting and writing stories. She's following her own personality and not living her life in accordance with someone else's demands and needs. The effects of this newfound freedom are seen not only in her behavior, but also in her interactions with the rest of the wives. Even though there are some who still feel a certain level of jealousy or animosity towards her, there are plenty who are inspired by her strength and freedom. According to sources, her influence has caused conversations regarding their own needs and happiness to take place within the remaining wives. Janelle's story is causing a stir in more ways than one. Fans following the events with great interest are largely overwhelmed by these events. Online sites and social networking pages are replete with conversations regarding the way Janelle's life is taking shape. Fans are appreciating her courage and admiring the way Janelle is paving the way for others to become empowered in situations where their family dynamics and societal pressures may not allow them to do so. Interestingly, the transformation is also seen in the manner in which Janelle tackles domestic affairs. Friends bring out the fact that the changed person is more outspoken when it comes to judgments on family patterns, living areas, and shared responsibilities. The new husband, although not tyrannical in his approaches, offers support and allows Janelle to function actively and authoritatively. In the last few years, it is noted that Janelle had to function carefully when it comes to balancing the politics in the family in order to avoid conflicts. This empowering phase also seems to have strengthened her ties with her children. Her friends have found her to be more engaged, receptive, and emotionally invested than before. The stability brought about by her new husband, along with her recent self-discovery and boosted morale, have enabled her to connect with her children on a level where she could not before. Observers of this reality show have picked up instances of her children and Janelle being really close, laughing, smiling, and having fun together. Conclusion. Yet another important thing about Janelle's new life is her public image. For a long time, this woman had become well known in public solely owing to her connection with one of Kody's wives. But today, she is also beginning to build a character independent of this association. Either it is through her social media or any other means. The fact is, Janelle is now also emerging into the public as a strong, independent personality, living her life according to her own ideals and choices. The effects of her decisions are not only confined within the confines of the home and the personal life, but also overshadow the overall story of Sister Wives. Janelle's experience presents something entirely different from the normal set expectations and upholds new elements that are refreshing within the context of the television program. Audiences are experiencing the actual reality of something that is full of empowerment through the elements of drama and inspiration that are emotional. Nonetheless, despite all the glamour associated with Janelle's new life, there have been troubles. The process of adapting to a new family dynamic within a family as intricate as the Browns has not been a simple matter. However, Janelle's style, which encompasses a certain degree of confidence and empowerment, has enabled her to deal with all these issues with a certain degree of elan. Her new life further holds questions for the future. What will the Brown family do to adjust to the change that has entered into their lives with Kody's fourth wife being independent? Will other wives feel inspired by her to start leading independent lives as well? Will Kody learn to deal with changes taking place in his household, or will they become a major source of conflict for him in his relationships with the wives, primarily Janelle Brown? Ultimately, this chapter in Janelle's life is more than just a love story. It is the acceptance of rediscovered freedom and the embrace of a life that reflects who she is. This secret wedding in Vegas that changed it all is only the beginning of this chapter, in that it reveals the freedom that can only come from making the right choices and living the life that the heart wants when the world is watching. Within the walls of the Brown mansion, the change in Janelle becomes clear. She carries herself with ease throughout her surroundings, handles her conversations with clarity and intention, and addresses her relationships in the same manner. Her life with her new husband becomes indicative of what her happiness in life looks like, because it is something that she has decided. As a fan, Janelle's life experience is inspirational. It tells audiences that no matter what your family life is like, freedom, love, and happiness can be experienced. Janelle's life journey encompasses universal themes that include empowerment, overcoming adversity, and living happily. All of these themes transcend the boundaries of the Brown family. As the episodes progress, the audience is left with no choice but to conclude that Janelle Brown is no longer living in the shadows of expectations, obligations, or family dynamics. Janelle is living life on her own terms and in her own way. She's living in a manner that embodies her principles of living. Her story is a testament that the bravest thing that anyone can do is simply be who they are and take on the happiness they merit. Janelle's surprise wedding and the subsequent entrance of her husband into the Brown household are far beyond shocking news. This marks a point of change for all of the Brown family members. The Brown family has maintained an unstable balance of living in a polygamist relationship while showing grace and poise through the TV show all these years. The surprising act by Janelle has been enough of a catalyst for all of them, and all of them must adjust to this reality. Within the mansion walls, the effects have been immediate and palpable. Kody, as the head of the family, is discovering the realities of non-standardized relationships, and how his influence is no longer unwavering. According to sources, he is struggling to cope with a combination of emotions: shock, anger, and even admiration for Janelle's strength of character. A man who has spent 50 years of his life juggling relationships between multiple family members will find this to be highly unusual, and will have to ask himself questions he never thought he would. How much influence to wield? He would never have to worry about maintaining family unity to the point of sacrificing his own happiness for the sake of everyone else's in the past. The other wives are also going through a transformation. While the others started reacting in ways of jealousy and confusion, the others are taking a step back and reflecting on their own lives and aspirations. Insiders state that the influence of Janelle has brought the topic of independence and happiness and the need for self-fulfillment to the foreground in the conversations the wives are having. The well-structured household is being subtly rearranged in every corner. Naturally, fans of Sister Wives have been fascinated by this change. Social media platforms went bonkers as fans reacted to news of her secret wedding. Posts on social platforms were full of responses, some in awe of her courage, others speculating on what might occur in their household. Some fans encouraged her to finally think of herself, doing what she wanted for what seemed like the first time in years. Others wondered what might result in their household. The appearance of this new hubby has also caught many viewers' attention and curiosity, while many observers are impressed by his confidence and support for Janelle, suggesting that he encourages her independence and does not seek to control her. Another question that comes up is how long this could last in a family that for so many years has existed on a premise that worked on a strict division of power and control. The effect of Janelle's decisions is not just confined to relationships. The dynamics of the entire family are being affected on a daily basis, thanks to the inclusion of Janelle's husband into the family setup. There are changes in routines, duties, or even where they stay because of his inclusion in the household. And these changes, no matter how minute, are highly symbolic, reflecting a balance of power or influence in the decisions that are made. Friends close to the family indicate that they are gradually adjusting to a new code of relating that takes into account Janelle's happiness and the inclusion of her husband into the household. This is a learning experience for Kody as well. According to sources, he has already been giving serious thought to the long-term consequences of Janelle's independence. He finds himself struggling to adjust to being the patriarch of the family and being sensitive to the value of independence, a lesson he never found so important before now. His ability to adjust to changing circumstances seems to be being challenged in ways he never saw coming, with Janelle's daring statement about leadership in the Brown family. The other wives are also going through an element of introspection. While some of them are optimistic about standing up for their own desires, others are struggling with feelings of insecurity or confusion. The entry of the new husband in the life of Janelle acts as the trigger that makes each of the women question what they want in life. This phase of introspection is leading to a quiet transformation in the relationships between the women. Fans are all the more eager to keep track of the latest developments that are happening there. Discussion on social networking sites is filled with speculations about what the future might hold for the Brown family. Will other wives follow the example set by Janelle and chart the course for their own happiness? How will Kody behave if other wives choose to pursue the path of independence that Janelle is following at this point? The publicity this story has received has nothing to do with soap opera drama. Rather, it has to do with human feelings and the struggle to strike a balance between love, family, and self-actualization. The story of Janelle's secret wedding is very appealing to viewers because this story has numerous relatable aspects. The viewers have a tendency to experience themselves in Janelle because viewers begin cheering for her while wondering what they will do if faced with the same situation. Moreover, the case involving Janelle is revamping the cultural identity associated with the Brown family. Initially, the family was associated with polygamy, but the case involving Janelle has changed their identity in terms of empowerment, strength, and emotional maturity. It is a move that challenges the norms and raises awareness on how families can undergo various changes while still managing connections and love. People on various social platforms celebrate the fact that she now understands that it is possible to chase your own happiness without having to give up on your responsibilities and your loved ones. There are also subtle shifts that have come with her new husband. Friends indicate that there is tension, excitement, and cautious optimism as the family adjusts to the new dynamic. There is evidently new life in the mansion because boundaries and respect in emotions are being discussed. Janelle's life is the benchmark for living one's freedom in respect to family life, because happiness does not necessarily compete with commitment. In this chapter, the incredible strength of courage is also emphasized. Marrying secretly and bringing another man into her family takes a very courageous act like Janelle's, but she has exhibited this quality, and yet she is not deterred in seeking happiness despite going against what is acceptable in her world. As a viewer, this episode is very important in showing how, at times, taking very bold actions can make changes not only in your world, but also in the world of everyone surrounding you. The trickle-down effect of this choice affects all of family dynamics, as well as television viewer dynamics. Additionally, the storyline of Sister Wives TV is seen to be undergoing a change. The mansion's meaning has changed from a representation of a structured environment to a place of negotiation and change. Every TV program from now on is filled with anticipation as viewers sit to see how Kody, as well as the rest of the family, cope with this never-before period in their history. In the end, it becomes more than just love for Janelle's sneak wedding. It becomes renewal for the Brown family. She has brought change into a home that has for so long been built around rules, schedules, and social structures. For Kody, this brings a learning experience of flexibility. For the rest of his wives, it provides an element of reflecting on what they value in life. And then for fans, it provides an encouragement of strength, resilience, and achieving an happily ever after. While waiting for the next episodes, one thing is sure. Janelle Brown has turned the page on the story of her life and on the story of the Brown family forever. Janelle's story is a testament today to the force of self-determination and the value of emotional courage. Nothing in the mansion will ever be the same. Perhaps this is the beginning of a new story, and Janelle is at the helm.